everyone. I, Dr. Varun Kumar, faculty of MBA department from Tecnia Institute of Advanced Studies. Today I am going to deliver a lecture of performance of the contract under Sale of Goods Act 1930. Firstly, we will discuss about the duties of seller and buyer. It is the duty of the seller to deliver the goods and of the buyer to accept and pay for them in accordance with the term of the contract of sale. Unless otherwise agreed upon, payment of the price and delivery of the goods are concurrent condition, that it is to say the seller must be ready and willing to deliver the goods to the buyer, and the buyer must be ready and willing to accept the goods and pay against delivery. Both payment and delivery take place at the same time unless otherwise agreed. The seller must deliver the goods according to the terms of the contract, and if he fails to do so, the buyer can claim damages. Similarly, the buyer must pay for the goods and accept delivery, and if he wrongfully refuses to accept delivery, he shall have to pay compensation to the seller. Now we will discuss the rules regarding delivery. Delivery is the voluntary transfer of possession from one person to another. Delivery may be made by doing anything which the parties agree shall be treated as delivery. The mode of giving possession to be determined by the parties. Delivery must be actual, constructive or symbolic. In simple word, we can say delivery can be classified in three categories: actual delivery, constructive delivery and symbolic delivery. Now we will discuss one by one. Firstly, actual delivery take place where the goods are handed over to the buyer or his authorized agent. Constructive delivery take place when the person in possession of the goods acknowledge that he holds that the goods on behalf of and at the disposal of the buyer. For instance, the seller agreed to hold the goods as bailey for the buyer. Now, third one is symbolic delivery. Symbolic delivery is made by indicating or giving a symbol. Here the goods themselves are not delivered, but the means of obtaining possession of the goods is delivered. For example, the key to the warehouse where the goods are stored is handed over to the buyer, or the bill of lading which will entitle the holder to receive the goods on the arrival of the ship is given. Now we will discuss rules regarding delivery. The first one is delivery should have the effect of putting the buyer in possession. For example, where the wood of fallen trees is sold, the buyer should be able to cart away the wood after cutting it. The second one, the seller must deliver the goods according to the contract. Third one, apart from any express contract, the seller of goods is not bound to deliver them until the buyer applies for delivery. The fourth one, where goods at the time of the sale are in possession of a third person, there is no delivery by the seller to the buyer unless and until such third party acknowledge to the buyer that he holds them on his behalf. Next one, where under the contract the seller is bounded to send the goods to the buyer but no time is fixed. The seller must send them within a reasonable time. Next one, demand by the buyer and tender by the caller of delivery must be made at a reasonable hours. Last one, apart from any express contract, the goods are to be delivered at a place where they happen to be at the time of the contract of sale, or if the contract is with the respect of future goods, at the place at which goods are manufactured or produced. Now we will discuss the acceptance of goods by the buyer. The buyer has a right to have a delivery as per contract and accepts them when they are according to the contract. Acceptance by the buyer take place when: first, intimate the seller that he has accepted the goods. Next one, does any act of the goods which is inconsistent with the ownership of the seller, like pledge or resell them. Next one, retain the goods after the lapse of a reasonable time without intimating to the seller that he has rejected them. When goods are delivered to the buyer which he has not previously examined, he is not deemed to have accepted them until he has had reasonable opportunity to examine them. If the seller sends to the buyer a large or smaller quantity of goods than ordered, the buyer may reject the whole, accept the whole, and accept the quantity he ordered and reject the rest. I hope you understand the topic of performance of contract. Thank you very much.